I'm Josh DeBonis. I am a game designer from Bumble Bear Games. We're a small independent studio in Brooklyn, New York. We make independent arcade games, although what I'm showing here is very different from that. This is a game called Meriwether. It's a role-playing game about the Lewis and Clark expedition in which you play as Meriwether Lewis. And it's very deeply grounded in the history. We did all kinds of research for the game, and it's as historically accurate as we could make it. So making Meriwether was a very, very long process. It has been a labor of love that I've been working on for, I think, close to a decade at this point. It's been a very part-time development process, like while I've made many other games that have come and gone. It took a long time to develop for several reasons. One is that it's a very large project, it's very ambitious in its scope of development, as well as the story that we're trying to tell. It's just, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of content. And it's also an unusual game for me. Most of the games that I make are not narrative-based, and this is very heavily narrative-based. It's a role-playing game. And I worked with an author, my friend Carlos Hernandez. He generally writes sci-fi. He did an amazing job writing this. The length of it is comparable to The Hobbit as far as the number of words. So there's a lot of writing in it, and it was great working with him on it. We had a historian on the team, which is unusual for me. And it was the first game that she's made. Her name is Barb Kubik. She specializes in Lewis and Clark history, and she was great to work with. And then a number of other more typical game developers, like programmers and artists and musicians. Looking at the credits, that there might be 30 people that have contributed in one way or another. And some of the small ways are maybe like advisors, historical advisors, or cultural advisors for the various Native American tribes that you meet. And then also there was a core team that worked on it basically throughout the whole process, including myself. I did game design. Kyle Staves, the lead programmer on it, he was there since pretty much the very beginning. I mentioned Carlos Hernandez was the writer, Barb Kubik was the historian, and Jay Anderson was the lead artist. He did all the character models and animations. So yeah, it's a really big team that spread out over a very long period of time, and we're very happy to finally be done with it. A lot of people might want to make a game over a very long period of time and something really big and ambitious, but I would say do as I say, not as I do. I'm really glad that we made this game, and it took us a long time to make it, and a lot of love went into it and a lot of hard work went into it, and I'm proud of what we accomplished, but I think we should have done something smaller. Every other game that I've ever made is way smaller, and some of the smallest games that I've made have been the most successful. And so I would encourage people to try and scale back. But if you are going to do something very ambitious like this, it needs to be something that you are comfortable spending a lot of time with. And for me, it worked on this project because the topic of Lewis and Clark is so deep and so interesting that I never got sick of the subject. And no matter how much time I spend with it, I'm always learning something new. There are new books coming out on the topic, every month, and I meet new people in the community, either that are interested in narrative role-playing games or that are interested in Lewis and Clark history. And so I've met all kinds of those people that they bring something new to the table, and so I think it would be difficult to spend that much time with it if there wasn't that type of different kind of content and community. I like that IndieCade gives developers a chance to show games that may not have a home at a place like E3, like commercially. For instance, the game that I'm showing, Meriwether, it's not the flashiest game. It's difficult for it to stand up next to, say, Spider-Man. I really like some of the other content that IndieCade tends to do, like at their main festival, they have something called the night games, and they have big games like outdoor games that they host. And generally, those are the types of events that I've been more involved with, showing games in the night games, or physical games that I've made, kind of like what you see behind me, this ramen game. I've made a lot of games like that, like big real world games, and it gives me an opportunity to go out on the streets of Los Angeles and have people play those games. And there's not a lot of venues for that. So if you want to play Meriwether, you should just go to our website, meriwethergame.com. It'll take you right to Steam. You can buy it through there. It is on early access right now, and it'll be coming out in full release very shortly. You can also check out, you can add me on Twitter it's at Josh DeBonis, JOSHDEBONIS, at Josh DeBonis. I'm also showing another game here at E3. It's not part of IndieCade, but it's actually an independent arcade game. So it kind of fits in this space. And actually, we've shown it's based off an arcade game that we've shown at IndieCade in the past. And so the game that we're showing is called Killer Queen Black. We're showing it at the Nintendo Switch booth, and that's coming out this winter. So that's you can follow at Killer Queen BLK on Twitter.